Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to Neshaminy School Board's Public School Board meeting for Tuesday, July 26, 2022. Call to order. Roll call. Ms. Burns, please.
Mr. Allen?
Present.
Mrs. Hellenbach?
Present.
Mrs. Bowman?
Here.
Mr. Kovitz?
Here.
Mrs. Lafferty?
Here.
Mr. Linden?
Here.
Mr. Cervello?
Here.
Mr. Sporny?
Here.
And Mr. Sullivan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Burns. We all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The board met in executive session this evening prior to this meeting to discuss matters of employment, issues related to labor relations, the purchase or lease of real property, matters related to litigation, and matters related to school safety and security. Ms. Burns, do we have any announcements?
No announcements.
Announcements. Dr. McGee, Superintendent's report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. I start the meeting on a sad note, as we do too often. Neshaminy lost a member of the Neshaminy family since we last met, most recently. A longtime member of our transportation department, Chris Divakarich, passed away suddenly over the last week. Chris was a long-term employee, a bus driver, a dispatcher, graduated from the Neshaminy Maple Point class of 1983 with me. Chris will be dearly missed by his friends, his family, his colleagues, and if I could ask you to join me in a moment of silence to support those people. Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to more positive things. Summer is a busy place here at Neshaminy, regardless of what you think schools do in the summer, and outside the tidying up and buffing and polishing things, we have the following kids on campus throughout the district. And when we think of summer programs, we think of, oh no, the movie summer school, etc. That's not how it is anymore. We have approximately 100 kids doing some makeup courses at the high school, the traditional program. We have 230 kids for extended school year. These are kids who can, more so than others, benefit from going to school 12 months. We have 90 children in an English language learner program, over 200 in summer stock, which I'm sure you'll hear about during board comment, 60 in a PASS program that helps our middle school kids transition to the high school, and a pilot of our intervention reading and math program, 25 kids. We hope to expand that from one building to 6. If you're keeping track, which I know you weren't, that's 700 kids. In addition to that, the C&I department has over 250 volunteering kids to work online at home on reading and math help. So I'm nearly 1,000 kids active this summer trying to stop that, forget about COVID learning loss, the normal summer learning loss. So year-round school is becoming a thing in a different way, and it's very nice to see it happening, seeing our staff and our both certified and support staff interacting with these kids. So thank you for all of those who put that together, and thank you for the board for approving that. I'm going to yield the rest of my report to a consultant, Roman, to talk about our grandstands at the high school. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Irwin and Roman to do what usually a committee meeting does, but we'll do it in work session here.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. Mr. Jastrzebski, if you'd come up to the podium and please share with us, the board has at their place your draft report for the concrete bleachers based on your review, as well as the cost estimates that you've laid out. And I would just ask you to go over with them the highlights of that report and answer any questions that they might have.
Sure, thank you. Good to see everyone tonight. We were asked to do...
Hit the button.
The red button.
The right one? The red light went on, so I figured that was it. I'm with Gilmore Associates. I'm Senior Vice President. I'm also Director of the Structural and Forensic Services Department at Gilmore. And we were tasked with doing a condition assessment of the existing stadium. By way of background, we did some work on the stadium back in 2017 and 2018. That project finished up in 2019. That project was primarily to address deteriorated areas of the stadium that needed immediate attention at that time. So with the passing of time, we were asked again to do another assessment at one of the facilities committee meetings. And at that meeting, we had submitted a proposal to do some design work and to move ahead with some of the repairs. But the facilities committee felt that it would be better just to step back a second and do an overall look at the stadium instead of doing just certain repairs, to get an idea of, from a comprehensive standpoint, what's going on with the stadium. What does it need? How good is it? How bad is it? Is it salvageable, or is it something that we should consider, replacing, quite candidly? So after we completed the visual observation of the stadium, we documented during our field visits, we documented a bunch of different structural conditions, and I'm not going to bore you with each one, but ultimately we divided those conditions into 4 categories. One was immediate repairs that needed to be done, what we felt, in our opinion, needed to be done right away between now and next year. Then there were high priority repairs, which we felt you could do within a little bit longer amount of time, maybe 3 to 4 years. Then there were medium priority repairs, which were, I think, 5 to 9 years. And then there were long-term repairs, which we call priority, but not so much that it needed to be done right away. So those were the 4 categories, essentially right away, and okay, these can go up to 10 years. And as a result of that study, we generated a report. That report was issued to the school district in draft form back in June, and hopefully you have a copy of it. It was also issued with this exhibit, which is a compilation. Essentially, it summarizes every condition that we saw in the stadium that needed attention in terms of structural or a maintenance item. In that report, we provided some budget numbers for what we felt those repairs, those 4 repair categories, were worth in terms of contractually, if you were to go out and bid the project, bid the repairs, have them done. There was nothing that we felt was serious enough to warrant total replacement. So everything was a repair or a rehabilitative effort. In those 4 categories, what we did was we summarized them in our report, and subsequent to our report, Mr. Arwin asked us to give some breakdowns of how we got to those numbers, and so we issued a draft of 4 pages, one each for each of the repair categories: the immediate, the high priority, the medium priority, and then the priority repairs. And so this is how we developed the budgets that we included in our report, and that pretty much summarizes our efforts to date with respect to the stadium condition assessment.
So I know with the last facilities meeting, if we were to do this all at the same time, we would just add the 4 pages together and get a number, or would they be different because we wanted to bid it all at the same time?
You'd be pretty close if you added them all together. I think you could benefit from some savings en masse doing them all at one shot. And you would obviously not have all of the escalation that we have figured into the longer range repairs. So it would probably be closer to the lower of the budget numbers that we developed without the additional escalation and any of the factors that would take the repairs out past 3 to 4 years.
Don? Do we have numbers yet, if we want to completely replace, what it would cost?
We are accumulating those numbers. We're preparing to bring those to you at the facilities meeting on the very beginning of August.
Okay.
So we put bids out for that?
No, we don't have bids, but we have contractors who are on state contract who are able to give us numbers without bidding that out.
Roman, if we did all these repairs, all 4 pages, I know this is a tough question, what do you think the estimated useful life then of those bleachers would be?
Typically, we can get out of most of the repairs that we've specified, we can get a minimum of 20 years out of the bleachers, out of any repair, unless there's extenuating circumstances. Like none of us have a crystal ball or x-ray visions, so we don't know how much damage there really is in the steel inside until the contractor chips away the concrete. Then we can actually see it and address it. But for the most part, these repairs are designed for at least a 20, 25 year in that range lifespan.
Okay, I noticed, again, there are 4 pages, and I might be coming a little late to this. Why are they delineated as such? Are they just in order of priority? Priority repair. Okay, got it.
Yeah, the first page, so in ascending order, from the first page, they're the immediate repairs.
Okay.
If you turn to the next one, they're the high priority repairs.
Oh, got it.
And then
Okay.
you have the medium priority repairs, and then you have what we call the priority repairs. And they're keyed, those 4 pages are actually keyed to the report. So they're the same repairs that we would have in the report. We just, essentially, this is our breakdown of how we got to those figures.
Thank you.
Roman, could you give us an idea of what you mean? What would you consider a priority? What would you be doing under that? You came up with a number, so you know what the work is.
Yes, correct.
What do you consider a priority? What are we looking at?
Uh,
Doing to this stadium?
Which type of priority? Because we haven't classified immediate, high.
High priority.
Okay. High priority and immediate priority are something that is structurally significant. In other words, if you let it go, it's going to, if you let a high priority repair go for another year or two, it'll become an immediate. The immediate is what it says. It's immediate. We recommend that you get to those repairs as quickly as possible, because then they could actually do some more damage, and the structural member that's affected could then deteriorate to a point where it becomes unusable.
All right, and then if you just walk me through the description of all of them,
Okay.
please.
So the immediate repairs, we estimated between $60,000 and $80,000 worth of immediate repairs. Those are the repairs that we typically see in all concrete structures, not just stadiums. So typically in concrete structures, you get what we call spalls. So essentially the concrete pops out. It's kind of like a start of a pothole. It's on a vertical, it could be on a vertical surface, horizontal surface, doesn't matter. But that typically then gets to a more critical state when you start seeing the reinforcing. So a spall becomes more critical when the reinforcing is exposed. So if the reinforcing is exposed, we generally want to get to that as quickly as possible because the corrosion will spread, and it'll spread inside and you won't see it. And so then it gets to a point where it starts to get critical, which is what we tried to address in the immediate repair scenario here. So the immediate priority are all the repairs that we feel are necessary. Again, 60 to 80,000. This day and age, I hate to give any kind of cost estimate with the way the economy is these days, but that's our best shot at what we think it's worth to do it right now. And these numbers that we've developed also include the mobilization costs for the contractor. We have it distributed across the items, so it would be the mobilization costs and some of the other soft costs for doing the work. It's not just specifically that repair, it's the costs that go into that repair as well. High priority, the next one. So high priority repairs are structural repairs, but they're not as critical. So in other words, you can let them go for a couple more years, a few more years, and it's likely that they won't get to the point where it'll make the structure unstable or deteriorate it to the point where it becomes unusable. So the high priority repairs, you want to do them, but you don't need to do them immediately. The immediate repairs you want to do right away, because in a year, that could render the structure unusable, or that element of the structure unusable. Where the high priority repairs, you want to get on them before they get much worse, but they're not as critical in terms of time. So you have about 2, 3, 4 years to get those done. Medium priority repairs, they are the ones that, they're the toughest actually to delineate, because you have to take an educated guess. It's an engineering judgment. So you go out and you see a bunch of repairs that are necessary. Why does one become high priority and the other one just a medium priority? The medium priority is generally when we don't see any kind of other deterioration. So in other words, we'll see a concrete spall all by itself. No rebar rusting, no corrosion anywhere else. We won't see any signs of excessive deflection of a beam. We won't see like a big sag in a beam. We won't see a column starting to lean. So at that point, we judge those repairs to be medium priority, and they do have, you do have some time to get to those repairs before you have really start to have any problems.
Roman, I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. On the high priority, you say within 2 to 4 years, but I thought you just said, well, if you let them go more than a year, you could have a problem?
You could have a problem. You really don't know, because until they chip everything out, you really don't know what you have. The immediate you should get done between now and next year, that you can let the high priority go another year, 2 years. You might even be able to get 3 or 4 years out of it.
But how do you know?
Well, you don't. You basically, when you're doing the other repairs, you'll find out if some of those are going to be bad or they're going to be worse.
So it's a good possibility that if we were going to do this, it may make sense to do it all at the same time?
Typically, that's what we recommend, yeah. You do it all at once. Now you have a common baseline. You don't have to guess. I mean, we have a really, really good set of documents for our baseline right now from this study. We have photographs, we have sketches, we know where you see the drawings that we developed. These are the actual locations where we found all of these conditions. So you have a great baseline right now. You didn't have this 2 years ago or 3 years ago. This is a good document to be able to tell how much you have, where you have it, and what condition it's in as of right now.
Roman, so if the board were to make the determination that they wanted to go forward with the repairs and or even bid the repairs out to determine the scope, they could use the documentation that they now have to get contractors to bid on that work?
It's not quite there, but it's
Okay.
close. So the bridge between this condition assessment and a set of documents you can go out to bid with is some additional engineering that has to be done. We have to go back, we have to create technical specifications, we have to create the bid documents, and then once we create those as designed, as specified documents, then we would put that out to bid.
Thank you.
It's close, though. You're almost there.
What would timing and cost be for that?
Excuse me.
What would the timing be to get to that set of documents, and what would that cost?
I would say these are developed enough now that probably within 2 to 3 months, maybe, we could get a full set of bid documents together, about 60 to 90 days.
What would that cost approximately?
Good question.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know. I mean, we had a proposal before to do some of these repairs already, so you're probably talking maybe another 30, 40,000 worth of engineering.
Okay.
Give or take.
Hey, Roman, can I ask a question or two to your right? Can you just walk us through, so it was a visual inspection. Can you just walk us through, is that how it's always done, or do you ever use any scanning equipment, the quality of data and things like that?
We do use scanning equipment, we use GPR, we use various services. We do even have access to X-ray equipment, but you didn't need that here, because this was more of a 1,000-foot view and not okay, what is this specific condition? To scan that entire stadium, you might as well replace it. It would be just cost prohibitive. But to do what we've done here and create the baseline for you, now this allows us to go to that next step to have the repairs done without going to the expense of getting scanning equipment and the GPR. And we love that equipment, but it wasn't necessary for this. You can see, it's all exposed, so you can see a lot of it from the surface.
Got it, understood. And then one thing I would ask for the updated report, can you add maybe some bullets on considerations for if we were to remove the existing grandstands? Just considerations for construction or things that we might not be thinking of that you could add from your structural perspective? would be helpful.
If you were to remove them completely?
Exactly, yeah, that was we're trying to put all that together, actual constructability, cost, long-term maintenance, and try to come up with a decision, but that would be helpful.
We could. We work with a couple of different companies that are in the stadium business. We did the Bartram bleachers a few years ago down in Philadelphia, and it was a competitive bid, and we worked with a company, and they came in and offered some value engineering, which was nice. So it got the city where they needed to be for the stadium, dollar-wise. And we were happy because structurally, we wrote the criteria, and we just made sure that they did it correctly. And everybody, it was a win-win, true win-win situation.
So, yeah, so if there's any best practices or information that you could add to the report, not to make a project out of it. But
Sure.
that would be helpful.
Not a doctoral thesis, but I'll put a little bit of information in there, sure. That's not a problem.
I have another question now. I want to piggyback off of something what Mr. Sporny said. So this was just a 1,000-foot view, as you said?
Correct.
So this 1,000-foot view is costing us X amount of dollars, but once we were to put this out to bid and start working, we could realize that it's actually worse than we thought because we didn't actually get to the nuts and bolts of it. So it's basically a educated guess?
It's always an educated guess. I mean, it's kind of like going to a family doctor. You go in, the doctor says, okay, you need XYZ, you have this, but I don't feel you should go for an MRI. Or I don't feel you should go for a CAT scan. We make that decision on the fly. If I felt there was something that needed to be scanned or otherwise studied in detail during the field view, and my engineers that worked on this were instructed to do that, is to look for those areas, we would have asked you for the permission to do that.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that you feel fairly comfortable with the assessment that you've given to us in terms of the viability of being able to be fixed without having to go through all the extra equipment and things of that nature. So you're fairly confident with.
I'm very confident, yes.
Got it.
Yep.
I just want to make sure. Thank you.
I've been doing this for 40 years, just to give you some background, so it's not my first rodeo.
Thank you very much, Roman, for
All
your
right.
time this evening.
Thank you, thank you, everybody.
Don, we'll have the bleacher information for the facilities?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, there is a facility meeting on the 10th.
10th, yeah.
Of next month where the committee will discuss it in more detail. And we'll also hopefully have some information on,
Yes,
The
Mr.
replacement.
Allen, and in
Aluminum.
addition to the cost of of new bleachers, we also will be prepared to bring you cost of what we believe would be a cost to take these bleachers down as well. Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to routine matters. I would like to make a master motion for, I'm sorry, skipped right over that.
Mr. Allen, that concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. McGee.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry. We had a bit of a facility committee meeting in the middle of our board meeting, threw me. I apologize. Public comment. Do we have any, Ms. Burns?
There was no signups.
No one. The podium is open. Anyone wish to approach and address the board or the community? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to agenda item 2, routine matters. Now I would like to make a master motion for item 2.01, 2.02, and 2.03. I'm sorry, I will read them. That's the minutes, the check register, and procurement card purchases, and the additional annual appointments. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sullivan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0.
You can second mine when I get to mine.
Okay. That brings us to agenda item 3, Personnel Administrative. Ms. Bowman, please.
I'd like to make a motion 3.01, retirements, resignation, personnel administrative, retirements, resignations, and ends of assignment. Resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the following retirements, resignations of administrative staff. And there is one name on the list.
Do we have to vote on this?
I'm stalling. There is a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Rat.
Can I withdraw my second?
No, I'm afraid not. Seconded by Mr. Kovitz, who will forever be remembered for that.
Just abstain.
I don't think we can abstain. I know.
All right, I call this reluctantly to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. And I'm going to allow board comment on this.
So I just wanted to thank Anthony Devlin for 14 years of your expertise. I've learned a lot working with you as a parent advocate, as an actual parent, and as a board member. So thank you for all your years of service, and I wish you well in your future endeavors. But thank you.
You're welcome. The pleasure was mine, serving you and the community. Thank you.
Anthony, this isn't your final farewell, we understand that, but since it's now official, you are leaving us. Many of us here have expressed our disappointment to leave you. You have done a fantastic job for this community. I wish you all the best. You deserve it. You've done well for the district, and I will never fault anyone for moving on. You need a new challenge, and I am sure you will do well at your new assignment. And personal note, I've talked how much your department and your work with our students means to me on a personal level, and I'm just glad I met you, and thank you.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that.
Sorry, just get out of the list. That's it. Appreciate all your work.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
We're not practice. We're not just having meetings in July. That's what That's what it is. Thank you.
That brings us to agenda item 4, personnel certificated. Mr. Sullivan, please.
I'd like to make a master motion to approve item 4.01, retirements, resignations, end of assignments, 4.02, appointments, 4.03, leaves of absence, 4.04, revised leaves of absence, and 4.05, summer appointments.
There's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hollenbach. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. That brings us to agenda item 5, personnel support. Ms. Hollenbach, please.
I'd like to make a master motion for 5.01, retirements, resignations, end of assignments, 5.02, appointments, 5.03, leaves of absence, 5.04, revised leaves of absence, and 5.05, ancillary appointments.
There is a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sullivan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Item passes 9-0. Moving to agenda item 6, business operations. Mr. Sporny, please.
I'd like to make a motion for 6.01 Gilmore and Associates additional work, change order number 3, HOP modification PennDOT plans and traffic signal design. Whereas the Neshaminy Board of School Directors approved and hired an architect and construction management company for the new Maple Point Elementary project, and whereas in any construction project there may be change orders which may need to be approved, now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy School District authorizes the district business administrator to authorize the attached change order with Gilmore and Associates, Inc., with a revised date of June 16, 2022, subject to review, revisions if necessary, and approved by the district solicitor in an amount not to exceed $56,000 with one attachment.
There is a motion on the floor. Does it have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bowman. Any comments or concerns on that motion? Any explanation needed? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. Brings us to 6.02. Mr. Sullivan, please.
6.02 Gilmore and Associates Value Engineering Revisions, change order number 4, the Neshaminy School District New Elementary School Project number 21-02072-01. Whereas the Neshaminy Board of School Directors approved and hired an architect and construction management company for the new Maple Point Elementary project, and whereas in any construction period there may be change orders which need to be approved, now therefore be resolved that the Neshaminy School District authorizes the district business administrator to authorize the attached change order with Gilmore and Associates, Inc., with the revised date of June 14, 2022, subject to review, revisions if necessary, and approval by the district solicitor in an amount not to exceed $48,500.
There's a motion on the floor. Does it have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cerullo. Any comments? Explanations needed? Seeing none, call to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion passes 9-0. Brings us to agenda item 6.03. Mr. Cerullo, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6.03, auxiliary field lights via Musco Lighting under Keystone Purchasing Agreement. Whereas the Neshaminy Board of School Directors desires to install lighting to the high school auxiliary field that includes the athletic field and parking lot. Now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby adopts the proposal from Keystone Purchasing Network as submitted, subject to final contract review by the district solicitor.
There is a motion on the floor. Does it have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hollenbach.
Sure.
Any questions, comments, or concerns?
I have a question.
Mr.
Mr.
Sporny.
What is so this is the multi-purpose field and parking lot? What parking lot? Is it the small parking lot behind the gym there? Or?
That is a good question.
I just only ask, I just didn't know we were adding parking lot lighting anywhere.
No, it is going to be it has to be the parking lot closest to that area.
Behind Gym 1.
Understood.
Any other questions? Bring that motion to a vote. It had a second, right? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That motion passes 9-0. That brings us to 6.04. Mr. Linden, please.
I'd like to make a motion for 6.04, appointment of auditor. Whereas the board shall employ an independent certified public accountant to conduct an annual district audit of financial in accordance with Board Policy 619, and now therefore be it resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves the firm of Zelenkovsky Axelrod LLC to serve as auditor for the Neshaminy School District for the next 3 school years. Now be it further resolved that the cost for this professional audit service, in full compliance with the Pennsylvania Department of Education, are approved at $28,750 for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022, $29,750 for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, and $30,750 for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024.
Thank you. There is a motion on the floor. Does it have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kovitz. Any comments, questions, or concerns on the motion?
Mr. Irwin, how does this audit fee compare to the prior auditor's fees?
It's actually less expensive.
Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, I bring that motion to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. That brings us to agenda item 6.05. Ms. Lafferty, please.
I'd like to make a motion for item 6.05, Sunday facility usage. Whereas according to Board Policy 800, facilities fields may not be scheduled on Sundays without school board approval. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Neshaminy Board of School Directors hereby approves Sunday usage for American Red Cross, has requested Sunday usage for Maple Point Middle School on Sunday, July 17th, 2022. Mustang Challenge Flag Football and Cheerleaders has requested usage for Neshaminy High School football field on Sundays from September 11th, 2022 through November 6th, 2022. And Humeville Soccer Club has requested the soccer fields behind Oliver Heckman Elementary School on Sundays from August 15th, 2022 through November 13th, 2022.
Thank you. There is a motion on the floor. Does it have a second?
Probably the week before.
Second by Mr. Cerullo. Next. Questions, comments, or concerns?
Yeah, so I'm a little confused. I see that American Red Cross, they're requesting for July 17th, but that was a week ago.
That's correct, Mr. Kovitz.
We're approving
Approving it retroactively.
retroactively?
They came to us in a pinch, and I made the executive decision to allow that to move forward without your prior knowledge.
Okay.
They had set up a blood drive, and at the end, the Red Cross was unable to do it at the location because there were too many steps at the location that they were going to do it. I think it was local fire hall. So they called me like on a Wednesday or Thursday prior to the event and asked if they could move it without notice to our school, and I acted on your behalf.
Thank you. Got it.
So I'll just clarify that there's board policy exists because opening a facility on Sunday costs more than normal. So boards in the past decided to do that. Mr. Irwin gave him the green light, contacted me. I contacted board leadership who said, yes, it's okay. You guys will approve it after the fact. Okay? So that's pretty much how the process went.
Seeing no other comments or concerns, call that to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 9-0. That brings us to agenda item 6.06. Ms. Hollenbach, please. Good luck.
6.06, Second Act 34 hearing schedule, new elementary school project in Langhorne. Whereas the Board of School Directors of the Neshaminy School District hereby adopts, bless you, for the new Maple Point Elementary School project, a revised maximum project cost of $51,861,741 and a revised maximum building construction cost of $40,824,159 for the construction of the new Maple Point Elementary School, Middle Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Whereas the Board of Directors of the Neshaminy School District hereby authorizes and directs a Second Act 34 public hearing to be held at 7 p.m. on Thursday, August 18th, in the boardroom of the District Administrative Offices of Maple Point Middle School Campus, 2250 Langhorne Yardley Road, Langhorne, Pennsylvania, 19047, to provide information to the residents and taxpayers of the Neshaminy School District and to solicit comments concerning the difference between the estimated cost for the project and the actual cost for the project following the receipt of bids. Whereas the Secretary of Neshaminy School District is hereby authorized and directed to cause a notice of such public hearing to be published once in the Bucks County Courier Times, such publication to appear on or before July 28th and to be in the attached form. Whereas the Board of School Directors of the Neshaminy School District hereby authorizes and directs that a description of the project be prepared and made available to the public no later than July 28th, 2022, and that such description be mailed to the news media for release no later than July 28th, 2022. Whereas the Board of School Directors of the Neshaminy School District hereby authorizes and directs its administrative staff, solicitor, independent financial advisor, architect, and construction manager to do and perform or cause to be done and performed on behalf of the school district any and all acts and things as may be necessary in connection with the project in order to carry out the purposes of the act of the resolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the proper officers of Neshaminy School District are hereby authorized and directed to execute any and all documents and to do and cause to be done any and all acts and things necessary or proper for the execution or carrying out of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the Board of School Directors of the Neshaminy School District hereby authorizes and directs the proper officers of the Neshaminy School District to submit to the Pennsylvania Department of Education a certified copy of this resolution together with a copy of the minutes or transcript of the aforementioned Second Act 34 public hearing, a proof of publication of the notice thereof, and a complete description of the project, all as required by Act 34 of 1973 of the Pennsylvania General Assembly, as well as any other documents required by the department in connection therewithin. Resolution adopted this 26th day of July 2022.
There is a motion on the floor. Does it have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sullivan. At this point, I'm not sure who to direct this to, but can we?
I was going to say, now can
Can
our
somebody-
business administrator explain
John?
it in English, please? Layman's terms?
I'm sorry, is that directed to me?
Yes, Donna, could you please explain what the motion entails? What it,
Sure. The school code, which is, requires school districts, when they're building new construction, to go through a certain process, which is this Act 34 hearing process. The school board last year went through that process, did the bidding, did the advertising, did the hearing. The bids came back 8% higher than what was, I guess, approved as the maximum construction cost. Therefore, the school code and Act 34 requires a second hearing just to present that information to the public and then resubmit that to the Pennsylvania Department of Education. Did that capture it for you, or?
well, we'll see in a moment. Does the board have any questions?
John, and then subsequent to that date, new bids will be solicited, correct?
I believe the new bids after September 19th will be solicited, yes.
Mr. Allen, you also have Mr. Downey here, your architect, who is also instrumental in providing this documentation to us tonight. If you have any questions for him.
Anyone have questions for our architect? He got off easy tonight.
You'll be on the 10th with us,
Right.
Facility meeting on the 10th?
Well, then, we'll get you.
We'll get you then. Okay, seeing none, I will bring this motion to a further discussion. I will bring this motion to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Exceptions? Abstentions?
Hey, I take an exception.
That motion passes 9-0. That brings us to the close of the meeting. Is there any other board business to bring to the public's attention or the boards, from the board? Seeing none, that brings us to our second round of public comment. Anyone wish to approach the podium and address the community and the board? Seeing none, I close that second round of public comment, and that brings us to board comment. I open the floor.
Sure. I just want to say to Doc's point a little earlier, obviously there is a lot of activity going on over the summer. We don't have this hibernation thing going on. People stay active in the community, and so I got to see some evidence of that. My family and I went to see the summer stock production of Phantom of the Opera, and I know I have a neighbor that was in it, and there was I knew that they had maybe 3 or 4 weeks to make something happen, and as a person who participated in high school with that, 3-4 weeks is not a whole lot, and we weren't expecting what we got. We got so much more, and we were blown away by the production value and all the hard work that everyone put into it. And this is, what's amazing, this is completely self-funded. This doesn't cost us a lot of extra money, from what I understand. It's all, they raised the money, but man, they did a great job. They hit a home run. The talent of those kids, phenomenal singers and musicians. And so just kudos to that entire group for just giving us a really unexpected treat this past Saturday night. So they brought it, and just really makes me proud to be part of this community. So thank you.
Seeing no other board comment, I will also add to that praise. My sister and I attended the Friday night performance. My sister insisted that I keep the playbill. We like to recycle them, but she insisted I keep it because she's a theater buff. She goes to the Bucks County Playhouse and Bristol Riverside Theater, and she said, I am guaranteed that some of these performers are going to show up there. I want to know their names. She was that impressed. It was a fantastic performance, and I'm not a big musical theater guy, but I do attend the summer stock because I am just fascinated that they pull this off in the short time that they do, and the talent from the community at that age is just, it's phenomenal. And thoroughly enjoyed it, and for future reference, those when summer stock comes around next summer, I definitely endorse you going to see it. You will be thrilled. I don't really think I have anything else to add for that. I just hope everyone is enjoying the summer. I hope members of the board are enjoying what's left of their summer. Our work seems to never end. It's hard to get us all together in a room during the summer to discuss some of these items, but we're moving along. As I said, the work over the summer of the district doesn't end. That said, closed board comment. Future meetings, we have a Facility and Planning Committee, we've mentioned it several times this evening, 6:30 in this room on August 10th. The second Act 34 hearing for our new elementary school, 7 p.m. here in this district office boardroom at August 18th, 2022. And our next public board meeting will be on August 23rd in this room at 7 p.m. That said, Agenda 7.05, call for adjournment. Motion on the floor, does it have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hollenbach. All those in favor? We're done. Thank you. 9-0.